Hi everyone. This is our Facebook Live broadcast, Friday, May 8th, 2020, 4 o'clock on the East Coast. And today we're going to explore the Apple Notes app. This is Jill, and I got to tell you, this Apple Notes app is one of my favorites because I find it very versatile. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go up here and click on, whoops, got too much there. Click on one of my notes. And what you see is the outline of what I'm going to talk about today. You see a lovely picture, but above it, we're going to talk about the layout, the icons, how to lock it, how to share a note, how to connect all your devices, how to delete a note, and how to get help. Now what you're looking at is the screen for a laptop, or it might be the desktop. And it works a little differently than what the Notes app looks like on your iPhone or your iPad. So let's talk about the layout first. You see over here, way in the left-hand corner, there's this icon that has a page with two columns, a narrow left one and a wider right one. Well, that's what you're looking at right now. Here is the list of all the notes that I have created, and here is the current note that I'm working on the right. But notice that when I tap this, I get a third column. And what it tells me, if I click through it, is where some of my notes are stored and what notes those might be. So you see I've got iCloud on my Mac, Google, and Yahoo. Now, I have my notes backed up to iCloud, and so that's where most of them are. If I were to click on my notes, under my Mac, you see there's just one there. If I do it under Google, I don't have any. Under Yahoo, a couple. So let's go back up here. Now, if I don't want to see that, I just click on it and it disappears. That is not an option on my iPad. It won't open quite like that. Now, let's move on to the icons, starting up here at the left and going across. Well, I've already talked about this one. This four little squares is kind of interesting. When I click on that, you see I have options. Right now, websites is highlighted, and these are two websites that I have saved to notes. I've totally forgotten about the gluten-free sweet potato crust pizza. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. The crochet water balloons, those I did last summer for a friend, and they were really kind of fun. However, there are other options. If I went to photos and videos, I appear not to have saved any scans. Do I have any scans? No, nothing's coming up. So, but these are options that I will find things that I have saved to my notes. Okay, and to get rid of that, I just go there. Obviously, the trash can is if I want to get rid of it, and I really didn't want to. Let's see if I have the option, undo trash note. Phew! Moving across, this is the icon for a new note. So if I click on that, I have a new note. You see it's blank. And because I'm on the laptop, I can just start typing, etc. Now, this little icon with the circle and the check mark is kind of cool. If I click on that, you see that I get little circles, so I can make myself a little checklist. And if I finish doing that, I can just tap on it. So it's an organizational tool. The capital A, lowercase, and the uppercase A, of course, has to do with the text, the size, whether or not I want to put a bulleted list, dashed list, a numbered list. Let's highlight hello, and I go up here and I do a title, you see that it gets bigger. It's not like a word processing document where I can make it 100 or make it huge so it fills the whole screen. If I wanted to do that, I would have to do it off notes and import it. Here, photos, if I tap on that, this up comes photo booth. Also, the other option is photos, and these are photos that are in my Photos app. So I can add something. Let's pick one that, okay, spring flowers. So if I click that, and then if I want it in the note, I can just drag it over, and there it is. I can lock this note. Now that's a real advantage if I want to lock something and so that only I can get in. I can click on this and it says lock note, and you see I can enter a password. That means in the future I can only see this note, or anybody else that's on my computer can only see that note if they have the password. Let me show you what that looks like. So I have one down here labeled stuff. You see there is a little lock there, and it asks me to enter the password. Now, it's a little different on your iPad. All right? So the folder or the note is still there, stuff, but if I want to get into it, I have to know the password. The way you set it up here is differently. You have to go to settings and you scroll down to notes, and when you get to notes and setting, you will see that you have the option to set a password, and you would click through there and you would set the password that you want for your notes. In this case, the password stays the same. So again, the difference is on the laptop or the desktop, you can use that lock to set the lock the individual note. But on the iPad, you have to have previously gone into notes, set up a password, and then you have the option to lock it. Okay, let's go back up here. Sharing. Oh, I haven't finished the icon. So let me go back to this blank. And if I want to put in a table, see, I can click that and it automatically inserts it, and I can add a row above here. I can add another column. So I can create a table, which is kind of cool. Here, that's my share button, my share icon. Everybody knows that. And I can airdrop it, I can send it in messages, send it to reminders, etc. And if I want to text somebody this particular note, I simply do that and it automatically embeds it. I would write their name and send it off to them. Okay, moving over here. This is a little different. The person with the plus is a way to collaborate. So if I wanted Ed and Chris, my colleagues in Boomer Tech Adventures, to collaborate, maybe we're creating an outline for a future workshop, or maybe we're doing a to-do list, I could add them so they could access this note. So that's really handy. I mean, I'm talking about a business, but if you're planning a class reunion or a family reunion, what food are we going to serve on Mother's Day? you can collaborate through notes. Sort of like Google Drive, if any of you have that. All right, let me cancel out of there. And you, of course, can search your notes. So let's go back to the Notes app. All right, now all your Apple devices, let me make that clear. It's got to be your Apple devices. So I have an iPad, an iPhone, and a laptop. If I create a note on my iPad, I'm sitting around Saturday night and I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to do this coming week? I'm going to make a to-do list. I can do it, and then I can check my iPhone when I'm out and about and saying, oh, is there anything here that I need to get while I'm out? So let me show you how to do that. Change. All right. So if you have a laptop or a desktop, you need to go to System Preferences, and you'll scroll down to where you see iCloud. And when you tap on that, you'll see this screen. And you will notice that Notes has a green box with a check mark. That indicates that that note is being saved to iCloud so I can see it elsewhere. But I just can't do it on my computer. I also have to go to my iPad. And in this case, I go to Settings, and I'm going to tap where my name is. And when I do that, I will see this screen over here, and I'm going to scroll down till I see iCloud, and I'm going to tap on that little arrow. And once I do that, I will see this list, and I want to make sure that Notes is turned on, meaning that these notes, whatever I do on my iPad, it's in the iCloud so that I can see it elsewhere. And on my iPhone, it's basically the same thing. I go to my name, and once I tap on my name, up will come the iCloud, where again I tap on that little arrow. And when I do that, I will eventually get the page that has notes, and I make sure that that green is turned on. So you've got to make sure that any device you want to be able to see these notes on or share on, you need to make sure that they are all tuned in to iCloud. Let's go back. Deleting a note. Well, right now I'm using a mouse with my iPad or my laptop, and sometimes I do deleting well, and other times I have to go back to the keypad. Now you saw before where I tapped on the trash can, it automatically deleted that note, but I said, oh, I didn't want to do that, so I could undo the trash note. The other is that I can use my keypad and I can swipe to the left, and you can see I have the option to lock this note or I can trash it. But if I sweep to the right, notice I have another option, which is pin. And that's what I did with this one, because I knew this was the page, the note that I was going to use during the broadcast, and so I pinned it to the top. All right. Now, the last thing I want to show you on the laptop desktop version is help. Lots of times I haven't done a particular function in 6 months. I forget how to do it. But if I go up to the help button, do you see up there? It's the last thing in the main menu. And it says search. And if I just go to Notes Help, I get a user's guide, and I have a table of contents. And the directions are really pretty clear. And so it tells you how to set a password for us. So that's really important to remember, that that help button is there. Now let me show you just a couple of pictures from the iPad. I took screenshots because I can't go live with two different devices at the same time on Facebook Live. So let me show you the iPad keyboard. Now this is where you will find your icons. Again, the new one is a circle with a pen, and if you have an Apple Pencil pen, you can actually handwrite your notes. The camera has the same options that it did up, the pictures did up above. You can take a picture, you can add something from your photos library. You can also scan a document, which is really handy because an iPhone or an iPad are much easier to manipulate over, say, a receipt or a document that you want to scan. You've got the circle with the check mark that you can create the little checklist. Over here to the left, you have the options with the text. You have the ability to put in a table. You can see I did that right here. And that, of course, is like your back button. Up here on the actual note, you have the collaboration icon, which is the person with the plus sign. You can trash it. You can share it, and of course this is where you write a new or get a new note. Now, I thought this was pretty cool. So if you open a new document and immediately tap the share button, you have the option of adding lines or a grid to the note. Now this is a feature that is unique, I believe, to the iPad and iPhone, but you can see where it would be useful for different types of tasks. So that's just a brief look at the iPad, iPhone notes. If you can work the Notes app on one device, you probably won't have any problem working and figuring out how to use it on another. So that's it for the Notes app. Again, I find it very useful. I take notes in meetings. I save websites and pictures to it that I might want to use in the future. I save URLs that I'm going to have to use multiple times. I take pictures with it and then write myself notes. So for example here, you can see that I was at a local greenhouse and I really like these bronze coleus. And so I just put a little note to remind myself that that was at Deb's greenhouse. So that's it for May 8th, Friday, Boomer Tech Adventures Facebook Live. Thank you for coming by, and don't forget on Monday, Chef Toy will be cooking. I'm not sure what it'll be, but I'm sure it will be very yummy. So stop by again next Friday, and I'll be doing something else related to Apple devices. And have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.